In this video, I'm going to show you how to create multi-step forms for better user experience. So this is for when you have an app with multiple fields and forms and you want to be able to show what stage that the user is on the left-hand side like this. So not approved or approved, etc. The first thing you'll need to do is organize and set up your forms. So when you go into App Studio and into Forms, you can see here that I have 4 forms. So draft, so this is going to be the initial form that they see, waiting approval, approved or not approved. So you can make these specific with their own special templates. So for example, you can show the approval template only at the waiting approval stage, and then this will go to approved or not approved. So for this example, all of these forms are dictated by a select list. So this select list is the approval status. So this has different sections: drafts, submitted for approval, which is the same as waiting for approval, approved and not approved. So set up this type of select list and put it in your template to make sure that the user can see it. So this means that the form rules are relatively simple. When you go into each form, you need to set up one form rule, which is if the approval status is not equal to draft, hide this form. So you do not need to hide it for specific teams or target templates. It's the entire form that you want to hide for everyone. And then the same for the others. So waiting approval, approval status not equal to proposed, because proposed in this case is submitted for approval. Make sure you always use the value for select lists. Approved, not equal approved, and then not approved is not equal to not approved. So for all of the forms except for the first one, which is the draft form, you also need to select the hide form when adding new records. So you want to make sure that they can see the draft form because this is where they'll first input the data, but for waiting approval, approved, and not approved, you want to put on this toggle here, hide form when adding new records. With the select list, you want to make sure that there is always a value in the select list, because the worry is that if the select list is completely blank, then the form rule will notice that it's not draft, waiting approval, approved or not approved, it's blank, and therefore no forms will show, and this will mean you won't be able to create a record or edit the record. So always make sure that you have a default initial value here. So in this case, I put in draft because that is the first stage of the select list. Once this has been done, you can go in and check where you want each stage to be moved. So when you first create a record, the select list is going to be on draft, and then you need to have something that triggers waiting approval, approved and not approved. So when I create a record and input the data, you can see this is draft. So if I scroll down to approval status, it's still in the draft mode. So what I want to do is make this button here, this submit idea, to change both the approval status and also the date of submission and send an email to the approver here. So the way to do that is go into workflow, create a new workflow, and this one I've called click submit idea. So this is triggered by the button clicked, and you want to update the field value of the date of submission to date now. So that means that anytime that button is clicked, the date of submission will automatically be filled out with the date that it was clicked. Update field value again, approval status, and this time you want it to be set to proposed. So this is when they are waiting for approval. And for the last one, you want to create an email. So you want to make sure that this is sent to the send email field here. I've also put myself in there just so that I can track this workflow. So you want submitted idea from owner. Hello, there's a new idea. You've got the record link there, the name of the idea and the description. So then you'll be able to come back into your idea log. So first of all, you need to save and publish. And then when you come back in and you've resynced the app, you can scroll down to submit idea. When you click this button, this will trigger the workflow. So this will set the date of submission to today, the approval status to submitted for approval, an email will be sent out, and you'll see that this has triggered the form to move forward. The next step in this particular example will mean that someone comes in, for example, Mercedes, and then she'll go to approval status and select approved or not approved. So this will allow for you to have a seamless user experience and organize your templates and fields in the most efficient way. Thank you very much. We hope this has helped.